The world's biggest serial killer might have never been caught if he knew how to operate a computer. Imagine someone who is committing serial killings while being friends with his victims, well known in the city, and also a doctor. This is the astonishing story of Dr. Harold Shipman, who used his clinic not to save lives but to take them. In Hyde, a small town in England with only 30 people, he carried out serial killings for 23 years. After killing over 250 people, no one suspected Dr. Harold Shipman. Perhaps no one would have ever suspected him if he hadn't made a small mistake. What was the reason behind his killings? Why was he not caught for such a long time? And what clue did the police find that exposed years of murder in an instant? Dr. Shipman usually targeted patients who lived alone and were elderly, ensuring that no one would suspect their deaths. He would spend more time with these patients, often visiting their homes, listening to their problems, and reassuring them that even though they were alone, Dr. Shipman was there to listen to them. Some patients trusted him so much that they even gave him the keys to their homes. Due to his demeanor, Shipman became quite famous in Hyde, as people thought he was simply treating the elderly with care. However, in this guise, Shipman would learn crucial details about his patients, like when they were alone, how much wealth they had, and the whereabouts of their relatives. Once he was confident, he would overdose them with medication, killing them. Since most of these patients were already over 80 years old, no one suspected anything. This continued for years without suspicion. It wasn't until he made a small mistake that things began to change. Shipman started his career in Hyde, 70 kilometers away from the town of Pontefract, where he worked in a hospital. In 1974, he left Pontefract and moved to Todmorden, where he worked as a general practitioner at the Abraham and Morad Medical Center. During his time there, he prescribed large quantities of painkillers, which were actually narcotic medications. Dr. Shipman was addicted to these painkillers and would intentionally prescribe them to his patients, even when they didn't need them. This made his patients feel better, but they were unknowingly becoming addicted. This is why many of Shipman's patients unknowingly became attracted to him. After being fired from his job and having his license temporarily suspended, Shipman entered a rehab center. After spending a short time there and being forgotten, he returned to Hyde in 1977, where he began working at the Donnybrook Medical Center as a general practitioner. By 1980, he was practicing as a GP in Hyde. During this time, he neither gave up his addiction nor stopped killing elderly patients. However, the frequency of the murders increased after 1993 when he opened his own clinic in Hyde and gained a good reputation. For many years, this continued without suspicion. In March 1998, Dr. Linda Reynolds, who worked at a different hospital across from Shipman's clinic, raised concerns about the unusually high death rate among his patients. She pointed out that while Shipman's clinic had 16 patient deaths over the past 3 months, another hospital with 3 times as many patients had only 14 deaths during the same period. Her suspicion grew when it was revealed that all 16 of Shipman's patients had been cremated after their deaths instead of being buried, which was unusual since most Christians prefer burial. Dr. Linda reported her suspicions to the Manchester coroner, including the detail that many of Shipman's patients were elderly women who were found dead in their homes. It was strange that these deaths always occurred when Shipman was either at the house or had just been there. This raised further suspicion. An investigation followed, but no solid evidence was found against Dr. Shipman, and it was closed after a month. Shipman continued to sign death certificates for his patients, listing old age as the cause of death. However, he was also signing a second form, the Form C, with the help of doctors who did not suspect him. This allowed him to send his patients for cremation, erasing any evidence of foul play. Many deaths went uninvestigated due to this method. After the investigation was closed, Shipman killed 3 more patients. However, the time for his capture was near. Shipman's last victim was 81-year-old Kathleen Grundy, a former mayor of Hyde, who died on June 24, 1998 at her home. Once again, Dr. Shipman was the last person to see her alive. He signed her death certificate, citing old age as the cause of death. Kathleen's daughter, Angela Woodruff, who was a lawyer, became suspicious when she found a will in which her mother had left her house to Dr. Shipman. Shipman was very close to their family, but Angela was concerned because there was no mention of another property her mother owned. This led her to believe that Shipman had written the will, which was confirmed when she reported her suspicions to the police. The police reopened the investigation, exhumed Kathleen's body, and found high traces of heroin, diamorphine, in her system. When questioned, Dr. Shipman claimed that Kathleen had been a heroin addict, and he had noted this in his computer records before treating her. However, what Shipman didn't realize was that the last edited date for his computer records was automatically saved, and this showed the date of the entries, revealing his mistake. Further investigation revealed that Shipman had written a fake will using his typewriter, which was the same one he had used for other fraudulent documents. The police discovered that the typewriter had certain missing characters, which were also missing in Kathleen's will. On September 7, 1998, Dr. Harold Shipman was arrested. Once the truth came out, other people also came forward, revealing that their loved ones had been killed by Shipman. These individuals had been suspicious, but were too afraid to speak out against the well-known doctor. The investigation revealed a consistent pattern. Shipman had been giving his patients lethal doses of diamorphine, signing their death certificates, and recommending cremation to erase the evidence. After a thorough investigation, it was found that Shipman had murdered a total of 218 patients between 1975 and his arrest. This number was confirmed, but many cases could not be confirmed due to lack of evidence. Some estimates put the total number at 260 or higher. Dr. Shipman was convicted of 15 murders, and he later hanged himself in his cell using bedsheets. After his death, a fellow inmate claimed that Shipman had confessed to killing 508 people. The true reason behind his killing spree remains unclear. Some believe it was due to psychopathy, some say it was for money, while others suggest it could be linked to the death of his mother, who was a cancer patient and had been given morphine for pain relief. Experts believe that maybe Shipman wanted to kill his patients also by giving them morphine in the same way. You all will like and share this video. I will appreciate your loving comments. Thank you very much. See you in the next great video.